You keep waiting for the right conditions, the right boss, the right economy, the right amount of money saved up, the right amount of confidence, courage, or certainty before you finally begin. I need to tell you something, and I need you to actually hear it instead of just letting it pass by like every other piece of advice you've scrolled past this week. That moment is never coming. You are waiting for a season that does not exist on any calendar. Nobody is going to ring a bell and announce that conditions are now perfect. Life does not work that way, and deep down, you already know it. So let's start here, plainly, without decoration, without the soft version of the truth. It's not the economy. It's not your boss. It's not the government, the market, your industry, or the family you were born into holding you back. It's your philosophy. The way you think about work, the way you think about effort, the way you think about who, exactly, is responsible for the results in your life. Somewhere along the way, maybe in a classroom, maybe in your first job, maybe just by watching the adults around you, you were handed a philosophy that was never designed to build a life. It was designed to fill a shift, show up, do the minimum required not to get fired, watch the clock, wait for Friday, wait for the raise, wait for someone else to notice your effort and hand you the future you were too afraid to build yourself. That's not a character flaw. Let me be clear about that, because I am not here to shame you. That's a mindset. And mindsets, unlike personalities, can be replaced. Here's the hard truth wrapped in kindness. You are the architect of your own life. Every single day, whether you're paying attention or not, you are laying a brick. But right now, if you're honest with yourself, you're laying bricks for a house you don't even want to live in. Let that sit for a second. Don't rush past it. You didn't wake up one morning and choose mediocrity. Nobody does that. It happens slowly, one comfortable decision at a time. One, I'll start Monday. One, it's not the right time. One season of coasting that quietly, without an announcement, became a decade. And here is the sentence I want you to remember long after this video ends. The biggest mistake you're making isn't a lack of talent. It is not a lack of intelligence. It is not a lack of opportunity, connections, or luck. It is a lack of discipline. The discipline to think, decide, and act like the owner of your life, instead of a renter waiting for someone else to fix the roof. So today, we are not talking about hustle culture. We are not talking about motivation that feels powerful for 20 minutes and evaporates by Wednesday morning. We are talking about something deeper and far more permanent, a complete shift in identity, from employee thinking to leadership thinking. Not a job title, a philosophy. Because leadership was never about the corner office, the title on the door, or the number of people reporting to you. Leadership was always about one simple, unglamorous thing. Who takes responsibility when nobody is watching? Stay with me. This is going to sting a little before it sets you free. And that's exactly how real change is supposed to feel. Let me show you two people. Same city, same starting salary, same size of apartment, same number of hours in the day, because that part never changes for anyone. Everyone gets 24 hours. The rich and the poor, the talented and the average, the confident and the terrified. 24 hours, no more, no less, no exceptions. The first person thinks like an employee, not because of their job title, because of their philosophy. They ask, what is the minimum I need to do to keep this position? They ask, when is my next day off? They ask, whose fault is this? The moment something goes wrong. They wait to be told what to do, and then they do exactly that much. Not 1 inch more. They see effort as a transaction, a simple trade of time for money. Nothing invested, nothing multiplied, nothing left over at the end of the month except the exact same tiredness they started with. The second person has the exact same job, same desk, same paycheck this month. Nothing about their external circumstances is different, but their philosophy is entirely different. They ask, what skill can I build this year that I didn't have last year? They ask, How can I make myself more valuable, not just more busy? They ask, what can I control today, regardless of what happened yesterday, and regardless of what might happen tomorrow? They see their current job not as a ceiling that traps them, but as a training ground that prepares them. Here is the part that will change how you see everything, if you let it. In 5 years, these two people will not just have different bank accounts. They will be different people, different in how they carry themselves, different in how they speak, different in how they handle a crisis, a setback, or an opportunity that requires courage. One will have compounded discipline into capability, capability into confidence, and confidence into opportunity. A slow, steady staircase, built one ordinary day at a time. The other will still be waiting for the right conditions, still blaming the field for a harvest they never planted, still telling the same story about why this year wasn't the year, the way they told it last year, and the year before that. This is the philosophy gap. And it doesn't announce itself overnight. It shows up quietly, in the compound interest of 1,000 small choices nobody else ever sees. Employee thinking says, I am owed something for simply showing up. Leadership thinking says, I owe it to myself to grow, regardless of what I'm given. Employee thinking says, this isn't in my job description. Leadership thinking says, my description is whatever it takes to become the person I am trying to become. Employee thinking waits for permission. Leadership thinking takes responsibility. Employee thinking asks, what's in it for me right now, today? Leadership thinking asks, what am I becoming, over time, because of what I choose today? And here is the question that should interrupt whatever comfortable story you've been telling yourself for the last few years. If nobody ever promoted you, gave you a raise, or noticed your effort again, would you still choose to grow? Would you still choose discipline over comfort, on a random Tuesday, with no audience and no applause? Your honest answer to that question tells you which philosophy you're actually operating on. Not the one you post about, not the one you tell your friends when you're feeling inspired, the one your daily habits quietly reveal when nobody's grading you, and nothing is on the line. Because philosophy isn't what you believe in theory. Philosophy is what you actually do when believing it becomes inconvenient. Let me give you a few more contrasts. Because repetition is how truth finally sinks past the surface and into behavior. If you think like an employee, you protect your energy for the hours you're being watched. If you think like a leader, your energy is consistent whether you're being watched or not. Because you're not performing for an audience, you're building a character. If you think like an employee, feedback feels like an attack. If you think like a leader, feedback feels like free information about how to improve faster than you would have on your own. If you think like an employee, a mistake is something to hide, minimize, or blame on someone else. If you think like a leader, a mistake is simply tuition. An expensive lesson you fully intend to get your money's worth from. If you think like an employee, your growth stops the moment structure disappears. No one assigning tasks. No one checking your work. If you think like a leader, structure was never the source of your growth. Your own standards were. And your own standards don't disappear just because supervision does. Notice the pattern underneath every single one of these contrasts. Employee thinking outsources responsibility to something external. A boss, a system, an audience, a set of instructions. Leadership thinking locates responsibility internally, in a place no external circumstance can ever reach or remove. That internal location is the entire game. Everything else is just detail. Because I don't want this to just sound clever. I want it to actually change something. Employee thinking is not about which building you work in. There are people with the title CEO who think entirely like employees. They wait for the board to tell them what to do. They avoid hard decisions. They manage rather than lead. They protect their position instead of growing their capability. And there are people stocking shelves at midnight who think entirely like leaders, who show up early without being asked, who master their craft quietly, who take ownership of outcomes nobody assigned to them, who are building something inside themselves that no manager can see yet, but that the world will eventually be unable to ignore. So if you've been telling yourself, I'll start thinking like a leader once I get promoted, once I own something, once I have a title that matches the ambition, I need you to hear this clearly. That's employee thinking wearing a leadership costume. It's still waiting for permission. It's still outsourcing the starting gun to someone else. The leader's philosophy has to come first. The title, if it ever comes, always comes second. Always. There has never been an exception to that order. In any field, in any era. Let's go back to the farm. Not because it's poetic, because it's true, and because nature does not lie to make you feel better. A farmer does not plant corn in the morning and harvest it by dinner. He tills the soil when it's cold, sore on his hands, and completely unglamorous. He plants seeds that show absolutely nothing for weeks. He waters ground that looks, to any outside observer walking past, completely empty, completely wasted, completely pointless. And if you walked by his field in that first month, you would think he was wasting his time. You might even feel sorry for him. You might think, this man is working so hard for nothing. But the farmer isn't foolish. He understands a law that governs everything, not just agriculture, but careers, relationships, health, finances, and character. It's called the law of sowing and reaping, and it has 3 parts that never change. You reap what you sow. You reap after you sow, never before. And you reap more than you sow. This is not motivational language you can nod along to and forget. This is the actual operating system underneath reality itself. Every skill you don't build today is a harvest you simply will not have in 3 years. Every hard conversation you avoid today becomes a bigger, heavier problem waiting for you in 6 months. Every rep you skip at the gym, every book you don't open, every extra hour you trade for comfortable numbness, that is a seed you chose not to plant, and no amount of wishing later will make it grow retroactively. And here's what nobody tells you clearly enough, what nobody says out loud in the comment sections and highlight reels. The field does not care about your excuses. It doesn't care that you were tired. It doesn't care that conditions weren't perfect, that your childhood was hard, that your boss was unfair, that the timing was wrong. The field only responds to what was actually planted in it. You cannot negotiate with a harvest. You cannot argue your way into fruit that was never seeded. You can only plant, tend, wait, and trust the law that has never once failed a patient farmer. So ask yourself, honestly, without flinching, what have you been planting for the last 12 months? Not what you intended to plant, not what you told yourself you'd get around to, what you actually, consistently, put into the ground with your own 2 hands. Because right now, today, in this very moment, you are either planting for a future you'll be proud of, or you're planting weeds of avoidance and simply calling it just how life is. Here's a concept that quietly separates those who build a life from those who merely survive one. Compounding. Compounding is unglamorous. It's almost invisible in the moment, and it is completely undeniable over time. That contrast, invisible now, undeniable later, is exactly why so many people give up on it. 1 push-up today means nothing you can point to. 1 page read today means nothing you can measure. 1% better today feels, honestly, like nothing at all. But nothing, repeated with discipline, day after day, without an audience, becomes something unstoppable. This is the part employee thinking misses completely. Because employee thinking is always looking for the immediate paycheck. It wants proof today. It wants the reward to match the effort, on the same day, in the same amount, like a vending machine. But leadership thinking understands a different kind of math entirely. Leadership thinking says, I am not doing this for today's result. I am doing this to become the kind of person who, 18 months from now, is simply operating on a different level. While everyone who quit at month 2 is still standing exactly where they started, wondering why nothing ever changes for them. If you do the work only when it's convenient, you get convenient results. Small, forgettable, temporary, gone by next week. If you do the work when it's disciplined, day after day, without applause, without an audience, without anyone keeping score but you get compounding. And compounding, given enough time, doesn't just improve your life. It transforms it into something the old version of you wouldn't recognize. The tragedy isn't that people fail to compound. Most people never even try long enough to fail at it properly. The real tragedy is that most people quit exactly one season before the compounding would have finally become visible. Right before the curve bends upward. Right before the invisible work becomes undeniable proof. Here is a truth I need you to carry with you for the rest of your life, long after this video is over. You will pay one of two prices. The price of discipline or the price of regret. There is no third option. There is no way to pay neither. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. Discipline is choosing to wake up early when the bed is warm, and the excuse is easy, and nobody would ever know if you hit snooze one more time. Regret is waking up in 5 years, in the exact same position, wondering where all that time actually went. Discipline is having the uncomfortable conversation now, while it's still small. Regret is carrying resentment for years, because you let a small problem grow into an unspoken wall between you and someone you cared about. Discipline is saying no to the version of you that wants comfort right now, in this exact moment. Regret is saying yes to comfort so many times, in so many small moments, that comfort quietly became your ceiling instead of your rest. Notice something important here, because it matters more than people realize. Discipline is temporary. It's a season. It's hard for a while, genuinely hard. And then something shifts. It becomes identity. It becomes simply who you are, and it stops feeling like sacrifice and starts feeling like self-respect. But regret doesn't have a season. Regret doesn't end on its own. Regret compounds too, except it compounds in the wrong direction. It compounds into bitterness. It compounds into blame. It compounds into a slow, quiet erosion of your own belief that you were ever capable of more in the first place. So when discipline feels heavy today, and it will feel heavy, I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Ask yourself honestly which weight you'd rather carry, the ounces now or the tons later, because you don't get to choose neither. Life simply doesn't offer that option, no matter how long you avoid the decision. You only get to choose which one. Now here is where leadership thinking becomes not just powerful, but merciful. Merciful toward yourself, which is something most self-improvement content forgets to teach. You are going to fail. Let's be honest about that, instead of pretending otherwise. Instead of pretending this video is a magic formula that removes failure from your future entirely. You will have seasons of winter, seasons where nothing seems to be growing, where effort feels invisible, where you plant and plant and plant and see absolutely no green breaking through the soil, no matter how patient you try to be. Employee thinking interprets winter as proof that you're simply not cut out for this. It says, "See, this doesn't work for people like me." It turns a temporary season into a permanent identity. It takes a passing condition and carves it into a verdict. Leadership thinking understands something entirely different. Winter is not a punishment. Winter is a phase. It is one part of a cycle that was always going to include cold months. No farmer burns down his field because it's cold in January. He doesn't stand in the snow and declare himself a failure at farming. He understands the field is resting, not dying. He understands that seasons change precisely because that is the nature of seasons. They are defined by the simple fact that they end. Your failure last year was not a life sentence. It was a season. Your slow, uncertain start was not a disqualification. It was a season. The years you wasted, the chances you let slip by, the version of you that simply didn't know better yet, that was a season too, and seasons pass. Here's the leadership reframe, and I want you to actually take this one with you. Failure is data, not destiny. It's feedback, not a final verdict handed down by some cosmic judge. The question was never, did you fail? Everyone fails. Every single successful person you've ever admired failed first, often repeatedly, often painfully. The real question is, did you let winter convince you that spring wasn't coming? Because spring always comes. For the field that was tended, even imperfectly, even slowly. It simply does not come for the field that was abandoned entirely. There's one more picture I want to leave in your mind before we move to action, because it explains why so many capable people stay stuck for years without understanding why. Employee thinking is always looking for the elevator, a shortcut, a single decision, a single lucky break, a single viral moment that lifts you from where you are to where you want to be, instantly, without the middle. And when the elevator doesn't arrive, because for almost everyone, it never does, employee thinking concludes that the building itself is broken, that success wasn't meant for them, that the whole system is rigged. Leadership thinking looks for the ladder instead. The ladder is slower. The ladder requires you to actually feel each step under your feet. The ladder does not skip you ahead for good intentions or big dreams. It only responds to the actual climbing. But here is what almost nobody tells you about the ladder. It always works. Every single time. For every single person who keeps climbing instead of standing at the bottom, waiting for an elevator that was never installed in this building to begin with. The people you admire, the ones who seem to have made it, almost never took the elevator. They took the ladder. For years, often in silence, often with no one watching, often while people around them assumed they were simply standing still. So stop scanning the lobby for an elevator. Put your hand on the ladder. It's right there. It's been right there the entire time. Before we get to what you do next, I want to walk through the excuses. Not to embarrass you, because I've used every single one of them myself. I want to walk through them, because an excuse you've named loses most of its power. An excuse left unnamed runs your life quietly, in the background, disguised as just being realistic. The first excuse is time. I don't have time to build a new skill, start a project, or think beyond survival. Listen carefully. Everyone who ever built something significant had the same 24 hours you have. The difference was never the number of hours available. The difference was what those hours were sworn to. You don't lack time. You've simply sworn your hours to comfort. And comfort is a hungry master that never says, that's enough. The second excuse is money. I'll start investing in myself once I have more financial breathing room. But here's what the farmer knows that the employee doesn't. You don't wait for abundance to start sowing. You sow specifically because you don't have abundance yet. Waiting for money before you invest in growth is like waiting for the harvest before you plant the seed. It has the order completely backward. The third excuse is timing. This isn't the right season for me. Maybe next year, once things settle down. Things are not going to settle down. I need you to hear that clearly. There will always be a reason it's not quite the right time. Newborn children, unstable markets, difficult bosses, personal setbacks. Life does not pause its complications so you can begin comfortably. The right time is a myth, designed by fear to sound like wisdom. The fourth excuse is talent. Other people are just naturally better at this than I am. Maybe. Maybe some people start with more raw ability. But talent without discipline stalls out. And discipline without talent still compounds into mastery. I would rather bet on a disciplined person with average talent over a gifted person with no consistency, every single time, because I've watched that bet pay off again and again. The fifth excuse, and the most dangerous one, is identity. I'm just not that kind of person. This is the excuse that closes the door permanently, because it stops being about circumstances and starts being about who you believe you fundamentally are. But identity is not fixed. Identity is built the same way a callus is built, through repeated friction, applied consistently, over time. You are not born disciplined. You become disciplined, the same slow way a farmer becomes a farmer, by doing the work of one, repeatedly, long before he feels qualified to call himself one. Notice something about every excuse on this list. They all point outward. Time, money, timing, talent, identity, handed to you by circumstance. And leadership thinking does something uncomfortable with every single one of them. It turns the finger back around. Not to blame you, to free you. Because if the problem is out there, you are powerless to fix it. But if the problem is your philosophy, you hold the entire solution in your own hands, starting today. Now let's make this real. Philosophy without action is just poetry. And poetry, however beautiful, doesn't pay bills or build character on its own. So here is what leadership thinking actually looks like today. Not in 5 years, not when things calm down, not after this busy season ends. Today. This exact day you are living in right now. First, stop asking, what am I required to do? And start asking, what am I capable of doing? That single shift in language changes almost everything downstream of it. Required is the employee's ceiling, the line they will not cross past. Capable is the leader's floor, the starting point they build up from. Second, take radical ownership of one thing that isn't technically your responsibility. Not to impress anyone watching, not for credit. Do it to practice the muscle of leadership. The muscle that quietly says, if I see it, I own it. Instead of, that's not my department, that's someone else's problem. Small ownership today builds the capacity for large ownership tomorrow. Nobody hands real leadership to someone who has never practiced it in private, when no one was around to notice. Third, invest 1 deliberate hour into a skill that compounds. Not scrolling. Not passive consumption disguised as research. Deliberate, focused, occasionally uncomfortable practice. 1 protected hour, guarded like an appointment with your own future self. If you don't have an hour, find 30 minutes. If you don't have 30 minutes, find 15. The size of the investment matters far less than the consistency of the deposit. Compounding doesn't require large dramatic numbers. It requires unbroken frequency, week after week, month after month. Fourth, have the conversation you've been avoiding. The one with your manager about your actual growth path. The one with yourself about the habit that's quietly sabotaging everything you say you want. The one with the person you've resented in silence instead of addressed directly. Employees avoid friction, hoping it resolves itself. Leaders manage friction because they understand something employees often miss. Avoided problems don't disappear. They just get bigger, and they pick a worse, more painful time to return. Fifth, end today by asking yourself one honest, unavoidable question. Did I sow, or did I just survive? Not did you feel busy. Not did you check things off a list. Did you plant something today that will still matter in a year, in 5 years, in the story of who you eventually become? Sixth, audit your inputs, not just your outputs. What you consume quietly becomes what you produce. If every evening ends with an hour of passive scrolling designed by algorithms to keep you numb and comfortable, don't be surprised when your ambition feels numb and comfortable too. You are not just responsible for your actions. You are responsible for the diet of information, conversation, and influence you allow into your mind every single day. Guard that diet the way a serious athlete guards what they eat before a competition. Seventh, find one person who is already thinking the way you're trying to think, and study them closely. Not to copy them exactly. No 2 ladders look identical. But to prove to yourself, with real evidence in front of you, that the philosophy you're trying to adopt is not theoretical, it's livable. Somebody near you, or reachable through a book, a podcast, or a conversation, is already living proof that this shift is possible. Borrow their evidence until you've built your own. None of these 7 steps require a new job. None of them require a new boss, a new degree, or a new set of circumstances. Every single one of them is available to you in the next 24 hours, regardless of what happened yesterday. This is not a 5-year plan sitting in a notebook somewhere. This is a today plan, available to you the moment this video ends. Because leadership isn't proven in the big, dramatic, cinematic moments people imagine when they picture success. It's proven in the boring, unfilmed, unapplauded decisions of an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. You don't need new circumstances to start thinking like a leader. You don't need a promotion, a new job, or permission from anyone above you. You need a new decision. And decisions, unlike circumstances, are available to you right now, in this exact moment, regardless of your job title, your current bank account, or how many times you've started over before and quietly given up. The ladder doesn't ask where you're starting from. It only ever asks whether you're climbing. Let me tell you about two brothers, because I think this will make everything I've just said land in a way that statistics never could. Same parents, same house, same table growing up. One brother left home at 18 and got a stable job at a local company. Steady paycheck, predictable hours. He liked the predictability. It felt safe, and after a difficult childhood, safe felt like enough. The other brother took a much messier road. A few false starts, a business that failed in year 2, a stretch of time where he was, honestly, worse off financially than his brother with the steady job. 10 years passed. The first brother was still in the same role, doing largely the same tasks, having asked for exactly one raise in a decade, and only after being told to ask by his wife. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't unintelligent. He had simply never once asked the question, "What am I capable of?" beyond what's required. His philosophy had quietly capped his 10 years before they even began. The second brother, despite the failed business and the rough years, had done something different in the background the entire time. Every failure he treated as a season, not a verdict. Every setback he mined for a lesson before moving forward. He read when he didn't feel like reading. He had hard conversations he didn't want to have. He kept planting, even in winters that lasted longer than he expected. By year 10, he wasn't wealthy in some dramatic, cinematic sense. But he had built something the first brother hadn't. Capability, range. The confidence that comes only from having survived difficulty on your own terms. And capability, given enough time, always finds its way to opportunity. Same house, same parents, same starting resources. The only variable that changed was philosophy. And philosophy was enough, by itself, to write 2 entirely different decades. I tell you this story not to make you feel behind. I tell you this story because it proves the point better than any statistic could. Your circumstances are not your ceiling. Your philosophy is, and philosophy, unlike circumstance, is something you get to choose again, starting with your very next decision. Now let me show you where this road leads, because you deserve to see it clearly, in detail, before you commit to walking it. Picture this version of you, 18 months from now. Same starting point as today. Same 24 hours in the day. But a different philosophy compounding quietly underneath the surface. The way roots grow silently underground, long before anyone above the soil sees the tree. You walk into rooms differently, not louder, not arrogant, just certain. Certain in a way that cannot be faked, because it was earned through 18 months of kept promises to yourself. One disciplined day layered on top of another. You start solving problems instead of merely reporting them. People begin bringing you decisions, not because you demanded the authority or asked for the title, but because you've quietly, patiently become the person who can be trusted with it. Your actual skills have compounded past whatever your current title reflects. And titles, given enough time, always eventually catch up to real capability. Maybe not on someone else's schedule. Maybe not as fast as you'd like. But they catch up. You look back at the version of you watching this video right now, sitting exactly where you are, and you feel something complicated. Mostly gratitude. Gratitude that you didn't wait for a more convenient season. Gratitude that you stopped asking the field to be fair and started asking yourself, instead, to be disciplined. Now contrast that future with the other one, the one where nothing changes, where you watch this entire video, feel something stir for 20 minutes, nod along, maybe even write a note in your phone, and then quietly return to exactly the same patterns by tomorrow morning. Same complaints about the same job. Same waiting for the same conditions that never arrive. Same habit of blaming circumstances instead of building character. One more year, indistinguishable from the last. Both of these futures are currently available to you. Both are, as of this exact moment, still unwritten. And the only real difference between them is the philosophy you choose to operate from. Starting today, in the very next hour after this video ends. If you keep thinking like an employee, you will keep receiving an employee's life, capped, dependent on someone else's approval, and permanently waiting for permission that was never coming. If you start thinking like a leader, you will start building a leader's life, one where circumstances continue to inform you, but they no longer control you. The choice was never actually about your job. It was always about your philosophy. And philosophy, unlike almost everything else in your life, was always, fully, entirely under your own control. Let me ask you something directly, and I want you to actually answer it, not just let it wash over you. If a camera followed you around for the next 30 days, not filming your words, not filming what you post, just quietly filming your actual choices, what philosophy would it reveal? Would it show someone waiting, or would it show someone building? There is no wrong answer that disqualifies you. There is only an honest answer that shows you exactly where to begin. Let's bring this all the way home. Discipline is the bridge between where you currently stand and where you claim you actually want to be. Discipline is the choice you make when nobody is watching and no one would ever know if you quietly skipped it. Discipline is the price, and it is always, without exception, cheaper than the regret that inevitably replaces it if you refuse to pay. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not disqualified because of the winters you've already lived through, the seasons you've already lost, the false starts you'd rather forget. You are simply standing at the edge of a decision that every single person who ever built something meaningful once had to make too. The decision to stop waiting for the right conditions and start becoming the right person. The economy will still be uncertain tomorrow morning. Your boss will still be your boss. The government will still be the government, doing whatever governments do. None of that has ever been the real obstacle standing between you and the life you want. It was always, only, entirely your philosophy. So here is your assignment, not next year, not next Monday when the week resets. Today, in the next hour. Plant one seed you cannot see the harvest of yet. Take ownership of one thing nobody officially assigned to you. Choose discipline's ounces over regret's tons. One more time, in one small, unglamorous decision. Do that again tomorrow, and the day after. And the day after that, until it stops feeling like a decision at all, and simply becomes who you are. Because leadership was never a title waiting patiently to be given to you by somebody else. It was a philosophy, waiting this entire time to finally be chosen by you. Say it with me, even if only in your own mind, because a truth spoken becomes a truth remembered. Discipline is the bridge. Discipline is the choice. Discipline is the price, and it is a price worth paying. Not because discipline is glamorous. It rarely is. Not because discipline feels good every single day. It doesn't. And anyone who tells you otherwise is selling you something. But because on the other side of that bridge is a version of you that the current version can barely imagine yet. Steadier, more capable, more trusted, more free. Free not because life became easier. Free because you became stronger than the difficulty. You do not need a new season to begin. You do not need a new boss, a new title, a new set of circumstances handed to you on more favorable terms. You need one decision, made today, and then made again tomorrow, and again the day after that, until the decision quietly stops being a decision at all, and simply becomes the person you are. The field is in front of you right now. The soil doesn't care how long you've waited. Doesn't start with sweeping changes or grand gestures, but with small, deliberate actions repeated each day.